Don't get the idea that my story starts here. The guy walking across this stage is not a 22-year-old senior who's finished in college with his parents in the crowd. He's a 38-year-old father of 8 with a lot of life scars. Let's start this story from the beginning. Between my mom's 18th birthday and her 23rd birthday, this is what happened. She had a baby her freshman year in college by a local gangster. He went to prison, met another guy 2 years later, got pregnant with twins by him, and he stood her up at the altar. My mom did good to not have a needle on her arm and be cracked out like a lot of her peers. So, it was just a lot of instabilities, her struggling to keep the lights on, her just really breaking her back with all she, you gotta think, she was born in 58. It wasn't like she had the internet resources, Google, all these other programs. She was a mom in 77. So it was tough. It was tough. We moved around like gypsies. I attended 17 different schools in 12 years. In September of 1991, after seeing my father's pick on the FBI list in the post office, we moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina. 9th grade, I attended Hillcrest for 2 weeks. Then I went to Stedman for the remainder of the year. 10th grade, I attended Terry Sanford. About that time, me and my mom started to have small fallouts and we weren't exactly seeing eye to eye. One night, we got into an argument and she told me that if I couldn't abide by her rules, then I needed to get out. I went to school and got copies of my academic transcripts, went to the health department to make sure all my medical shots were up to date, packed my things up and got on the train home to New Jersey. I was headed home to the people I knew, the people I loved. I was out. When I got there, my grandfather greeted me with open arms. He enrolled me into Overbrook High School. That was 1993. 93 was a great year. I grew 8 inches that summer, going from 5'3" to 5'11". Hip-hop and R&B were doing some amazing things. Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, Redman, Mary J, Zhané. I was a junior in high school with a job and access to public transportation. 11th grade was amazing. I even played on the same football team as future Heisman winner, Ron Dane. I won a state championship in jazz band as a drummer, and I was back around my family. When my grandfather got sick and I had to move back to North Carolina, it was a really down day. It was really, I had no plans on ever coming back. My senior year was a year of survival. We lived in the boondocks. I was far away from everything. We didn't have transportation, so me playing football or interacting in any extracurricular activity was pretty much impossible. I was determined to keep a job. I worked at Hardee's, KFC, Walmart, and even the local pizza joint. I hated being home. June of 1995 came and it was time to graduate. I was taking honors English, and being an outspoken teenager didn't always work to my advantage. I didn't know what to do that senior year when the guidance counselor tapped me on the shoulder and told me I wouldn't be graduating. I was like, what? I turned my senior project in. I thought I did pretty good on it. And for some reason there was maybe a personality conflict. I'm vibrant, I'm charismatic. Those things don't always work well when you're a teenager, so forth and so on. And I wind up writing a very controversial paper or whatever. So I got an F. And that Friday, my classmates, they walked and I didn't get to walk. So Monday I went up to the school, and I had to, I didn't have, like I said, my mom was doing good to just keep together. So I didn't have a system where she would go in and fight for me and you gonna do it. So I went to her and I was like, look, whatever, I don't know what I did, I don't know what I said, but if I disrespected you in any way, I apologize. I said, what can I do? I said, my family system is not even set up for me to go to summer school. And I don't even know if I have a place to live to repeat the 12th grade. And she sat there with her arms folded and looked over her glasses at me. She says, that's all I ever wanted in the first place, was an apology. She opened a grade book, got to my name, my class, got down there, took her pencil out, erased the F, put a D down, picked up the phone, called down to the office, said, Mr. Keys is cleared to graduate. So I walked downstairs, walked in their principal's office. He met me there. He opened the safe, pulled out my diploma, handed it to me, shook my hand and said, Good luck, young man. And that's how I graduated high school, in the hallway. At that moment, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, but I knew I had to get out of my house. I got a brochure in the mail from Methodist College. It was 3 miles from the house, but I wanted out ASAP. I went down there, they helped me get into school. Coach Seipel gave me an opportunity to be on his football team. And when I got that acceptance letter in the mail and the approval from financial aid, I was gone. My homeboy Daniel Van gave me a ride to school. I packed all of my belongings up in a duffel bag, and he dropped me off at Garber Hall. I'd stay at the dorm during the holidays and would eat oodles and noodles rather than go home. At least at school, I had utilities and phone access. Methodist was, it was cool. You know, it was college. I don't know how much learning I did in classes. I didn't know anything about college. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I think in 2 years, I actually earned 10 credits, like legit. Like I earned 10 credits in 2 years, crazy. I don't even know how I stayed in school that long. I think it was like on academic probation after the first 4 weeks of school, but so it was cool though. But I know I didn't want to go home, and I worked with the dorm directors because, I'd rather stay at college and eat oodles and noodles 3 meals a day. You get $3, $4, so it only cost me $1 a day to eat. So water and noodles got me through a Thanksgiving and many times because I did not want to go home. I did not want to go home. There was sometimes the lights would be on, sometimes the water would be on, and sometimes they'd be off at the same time, and having a phone on, this wasn't gonna happen. I stayed at Methodist College from 95 to 97. I tried to get into Fayetteville State, but I needed one more science class, and I got that from FTCC. I failed that class twice before earning a hard C. Not because I couldn't do the work, but I had to hustle. And if I had to make money at the same time I had class, I was definitely going to get money. It didn't matter what the hustle was. I had a daughter to feed. There was a level of desperation in my heart to get it. I finally get into Fayetteville State, like after the hiatus and everything going on, so I finally get in. I had no idea what an HBCU experience was, none. Where had I seen it? I'm from the hood, Camden, New Jersey. You don't have the marching band. The closest thing I'd seen to that was Camden High marching or E. Smith marching here in Fayetteville. So the band, the football team, black women in abundance, what? It was crazy. It was amazing. So now on paper, the university said Kurin Keys, major music education. But based on my actions, my major was estrogen and spades. And then I think I minored in music education. 98 to 2000, I attended class just enough to get a refund check. In the process of school, work, and fatherhood, I started a clothing line with my buddy Stephon Carter. He taught me about the t-shirt business. But when I found out that I could make more money off of printing for others than selling my own designs, I ran wide open. Me and Steph had a blast, having a lot of fun, making money. It was just an incredible time. September 2000, Steph passed away. And it's the first time I carried a casket. And, I put the first shirt that we made in that casket. And it's pretty hard, pretty hard. I remember the day like it was no other. He had went out the night before. Steph was a diabetic. And him and a guy, a buddy of ours, they went out drinking, and when Steph came home, he just didn't, he never recovered back from that night. And so he passed away. And at that moment, I knew from now on, no day was promised, and I had to run on all cylinders, every day. I opened stores in Winston-Salem, Fayetteville, and as far as Maryland and Virginia. Business was up and down. Some franchises worked out, others not so much. But my heart was set on going back and finishing school. I went back in 2003 and ended up flunking out again. Business was booming, and making the choice between class and my family, well, I tried again in 2009 and my student loans were in default. 2012 came, my student loans were out of default, I was academically eligible, and I told myself that this time will be different. I took one class at a time, one class here, sometimes 4 classes. Sometimes I had a full load, sometimes I had a part-time load, summer school, whatever it took, I just kept eating away at it, and I just saw that number. I was at 30 credit hours. Then I wanted to chop away at it. Then I was at 60 credit hours. Then I was at 80 credit hours. Then I was at 90 credit hours. Then I was at 100 credit hours. And then fall 2015 came, and I was at 107 credit hours. I bust my hump the whole semester. Week 1, week 2, week 3. I knew it was 16 weeks till I got there. December 8th came, Judgment Day. All the grades for seniors came in. I finished with 1A, 4 Bs. Which brings us back to this moment right here. I say this and I say this loud and clear. If you believe in something, don't ever, ever, ever stop believing. I started this journey 20 years ago, but you know what? I made it. And I leave you with this. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately.
Kurin Keys.
So I'm walking in right now, and I had to put some theme music on. I needed some theme music, and I was like, what would inspire me what could captivate this moment right now? And I pulled it out, and it was like, that's it. Let's go graduate. About to have fun.